Hello, my name is Kathy, and today I'll be continuing the discussion on Bach Flower Essences and their practical use. Continuing with their use on ailments. Today, we'll look at the ailments that these essences can help with, starting with the letter E ailments. But before I do this, I wanted to let you know that because I have a great many videos now on many different topics, that I've decided to create several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. Ear problems. When there is itchiness in the ear or eczema, use crabapple and impatience. When there are hearing difficulties, use agrimony, clematis, mimulus, and oak. Egotism. Egocentric people consider themselves to be the center of the world, and they relate everything they see or experience to themselves. While this is natural to a certain extent, our consciousness can comprehend only what happens to us directly, and we can only understand the experience we have in common with those around us. With egotism, the balance between me and you can swing too far in the direction of me. Our mental lives are impoverished from a lack of communication, and our relationships become cold or hostile from insufficient interest in other people. When we are too concerned with our own image, use heather. This is for anyone who regards other people as an accessory to their own life, or expects them to be an adoring audience. When we have an excessive interest in ourselves, use rock water. Rock water is needed when we are too concerned with ourselves and lose our feeling for the relativity of all values. When we become too obsessed with our own ideas, use vervain. Vervain is for people who overestimate their own ideas and constantly try to impose them on others. When we become too self-satisfied, use vine. Vine is used when we cannot listen to anyone's opinion but our own. When we are too frugal or lacking contact, use water violet. Water violet is called for when we have retreated so far into our own world that we have virtually no human contact. It is sometimes combined with rock water. Egotism, self-denial. The term egotism has both a positive and negative meaning. In the positive sense, it means that we recognize our rights and needs in a natural way, and if they are threatened, we defend them. In addition, we take into consideration the rights and needs of others, as long as they do not threaten our own. In its negative form, egotism causes us to ignore the needs of others and to have no feeling for their happiness. The typical egotist thinks only of themselves and demands more than that to which they are entitled or need. This behavior is unnatural, senseless, and not genuine, and it causes suffering. It makes us discontent and also creates hate and envy. For this reason, we must be careful when receiving and giving to keep our sense of proportion. When we have insufficient egotism, use century, larch, and star of Bethlehem. Century is good for anyone who's lost the feeling for their own rights and who serves others without deriving any benefit for themselves. Their selflessness arises predominantly from a weak personality and not from an aware, energetic openness to others. As a result, their character becomes weak and incites a thoughtless egotism in those with whom they come in contact. In other words, they get emotionally blackmailed. Larch is helpful when we do not have sufficient self-confidence or enough healthy egotism to take what we need from life. Star of Bethlehem can be combined with larch or century when an unresolved trauma is partly the cause. When there is excessive egotism, use chicory. Chicory works against selfish egotism that is caused by jealousy, envy, and resentment. Anyone who has the feeling that they do not have enough needs chicory. This is especially true for emotional needs. It can be combined with holly in the case of aggressive reactions, or with willow if the cause is resentment or bitterness. Embarrassment. When we feel embarrassed because we want to hide something from ourselves or portray ourselves in other than we actually are, use agrimony. When we feel embarrassed because we have no self-confidence, use larch. When we feel embarrassed because we suffer from a guilty conscience, use pine. Emotional tyrant. In almost every family, there is someone who is an emotional tyrant, and they will bully others with skillful emotional manipulations and blackmail. This normally takes place through displays of suffering, which triggers sympathy or guilt and brings them the attention they need or other advantages. We often see this behavior in spoiled, egotistical, or self-pitying children who incessantly torment their parents, and also in parents who try to prevent their children from leading their own lives. Chicory is the Bach Flower Essence to use in these cases, as it promotes emotional independence. Endurance. When a person has suffered endurance, has insufficient endurance, use gentian. Gentian acts against pessimism and faint-heartedness and prevents us from giving up unnecessarily or prematurely. When a person has excessive endurance, use oak. Oak helps when our ability to withstand difficult circumstances becomes a senseless compulsion. It enables us to give up if the balance between costs and benefits isn't favorable. Enthusiasm. When there's a lack of enthusiasm, use mustard. When there's an exaggerated enthusiasm, use vervain. Epilepsy. An epileptic seizure is generally characterized by a disruption of consciousness with convulsions that result from a mental overload or a shocking experience. In addition to the usual medical treatment, use agrimony, clematis, rock rose, and star of Bethlehem. This combination can be used for prevention and treatment of epilepsy. These essences should be given during a seizure by dropping on the lips or by rubbing into the forehead, full strength. For the convulsions of epilepsy, use agrimony. For the premonition of a seizure, use aspen. For loss of consciousness in an epileptic event, use clematis. For panic during an epileptic attack, use rock rose. To treat psychic and possible physical trauma as a result of an epileptic event, use Star of Bethlehem. Excitement, arousal, obsession. When excitement is not redirected in the form of actions, it can cause blockages and complex disruptions in the body. When excitement and arousal are suppressed and glossed over, use agrimony. Agrimony helps us express feelings that would otherwise bring forth a tormenting inner pressure. When excitement and arousal are felt strongly inside, use cherry plum. When excitement and arousal are aggressive, use holly. When excitement and arousal are displayed in a restless, impatient manner, use impatiens. When excitement and arousal are due to excessive ambition, use vervain. Exhaustion. When exhaustion occurs because of excessive stress, use elm. When exhaustion occurs due to hopelessness, use gorse. When exhaustion occurs due to pessimism, use hornbeam. When exhaustion occurs due to physical exhaustion, use olive. When exhaustion occurs due to resignation, use wild rose. Expectations. Expectations are merely fantasies and should be treated as such. Confusing them with reality brings disaster. For fantasies of the future, use clematis. For fantasies that create fear, use mimulus. Eye conditions. The eyes are greatly influenced by the psyche. The following essences or combinations are often used to treat eye conditions. As with any organ, the eyes lose some of their strength and functioning ability when they are not used very much. If we do not use them enough, there is a danger that either the eyes or the part of the brain that controls them will deteriorate. For general fears of vision loss, when we close our eyes to reality, use aspen. Use clematis for dreaminess and fantasies when we have little interest in what's going on around us and look only at what is inside, such as illusions or dreams of the future. Use honeysuckle for sadness or nostalgia instead of reality, when all we can see are pictures and images from the past. Use mimulus for the fear of something specific at which we do not dare to look at. This is generally combined with aspen. For conjunctivitis, use crabapple. Conjunctivitis is often caused by a sinus infection. In such cases, the blood-purifying effect of crabapple can help strengthen the effects of appropriate medications when caused by allergies. For issues with cataracts, use oak. For issues with glaucoma, use crabapple. Glaucoma is caused by a blockage of the fluid exchange in the eye, which can arise during times of stress and tension. Relaxing medication or biofeedback have been proven to be have very positive effects on glaucoma. Use agrimony for inner tension when we want to hide something. Use elm for sudden stress that causes glaucoma. Use holly for rage that is the underlying emotion of glaucoma. Use mimulus or aspen for tension related to fear of glaucoma. Use oak for grimness and inflexibility as the root of glaucoma. Use vervain for long-term self-induced stress that is the root of glaucoma. Use willow for bitterness that is the root of glaucoma. I have a great many videos now on many different topics, and so I've decided to create several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. Well, that's it for now. To stay up to date with my latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this free YouTube channel by clicking the red subscribe button right below this video. Take care.